what is it going to be like when he throws some pads on? Because obviously he didn't wow everybody over there in Tampa Bay, or they wouldn't have let him go. So, I mean, maybe we'll see a different Justin Watson when them pads come on.
I mean, I'm up on him. I think he's about a 60% chance to make the team right now. I give him a little nod above Justin Ross, actually.
Big time hype coming out of the Chiefs kingdom about a wide receiver that we have, Justin Watson. Also, Peter Schrager says that he is going to make this team. We're going to talk about it right now. So thanks for joining us on All Chiefed Up. I'm Steve, and this is Mike. Justin Watson,
Hello.
man. Justin Watson.
Justin Watson.
He's the talk of the town. Everybody thinks this is the guy. He's the shoe-in for making the team now. Even Peter Schrager got on national television and told everybody that he's going to make the team.
Yeah, so, since Schrager said that, that's all we've heard. It's been Justin Watson mania. He kind of took over the Justin Ross hype. So we're just passing our hype between Justins.
Right.
I don't know who's next.
Well, the Mahomes story played into that too. There's actually a story out there where Mahomes worked out with Justin Watson for the first time, and he literally called Brett Beach right after and was like, how fast is this guy? Because I had trouble, throwing on time with this guy because he's too fast and all this stuff. So
I'm gonna tell you how fast he is. He runs a 4.40. His pro day
combine
numbers. His combine number is pro day. He had a 40-inch vert, and he's 6'3", 225. That is a big kid.
Played high school at South Fayette in Pennsylvania, and he went to college at Pennsylvania, Ivy League school. Fun fact, he holds the record for the most receiving yards ever in Ivy League schools across the nation. So that's a cool note on him. But I noticed, he had a slow start in the NFL. It's not like he came in and was flashy or anything. And maybe that could contribute to him actually being in Pennsylvania playing at Penn, because that's one of the cons I wrote down about this guy is there were no challenging looks at cornerback in any of his college tape. And then in the NFL, it's almost like he wasn't getting the good separation. He wasn't winning battles. And maybe it's because he had there's a learning curve there.
I was just trying to write down some names here of who he had to try to beat to get on the field there in Tampa Bay. They were absolutely loaded at receivers and even tight ends. This dude is having to fight for playing time over, they've had Gronk for the last 2 years. They've had Mike Evans the whole time he's been there. They signed Antonio Brown. Chris Godwin. They had a lot of targets down there. It's tough for an Ivy League guy to come out and be able to get on the field. But I mean, kind of, he's in the same situation here, to be honest. So I'm not as confident as Peter Schrager is saying he's a lock. But I give him I'm up on him. I think he's about a 60% chance to make the team right now. I give him a little nod above Justin Ross, actually.
It could be just off of his experience. So he has played a few years. He didn't get much playing time or anything at Tampa Bay, but he's been in the NFL. He's getting up to speed on that, and he's learning what he needs to do in the NFL. So looking at Justin Watson, I mean, he's got good size for the NFL. He's very muscular, just a good, solid body. He's got outstanding work ethic. He's got that first in, last out attitude. He's always working on his game. He's got solid ball skills, good vision. He finds the ball early, and he can catch it over his shoulder. He can catch it a multitude of ways. So, I mean, he's just good at tracking the ball. So, I mean, those are things that I see that are great about Justin Watson. What about you, Mike? What do you like about him?
Good size. He's got great size. Solid ball skills. I've seen solid ball skills. He's good with his hands. Obviously, he set all kind of receiving records. The most important one for me was he's got good football character. From what I understand, he's the first guy on the field and the last guy off the field. All he wants to do is work. He wants to watch film. That's what, that will let you succeed in the NFL, is just how hard you're willing to work for it. And if a team such as Veach and the Chiefs see you, and a quarterback such as Mahomes recognizes you like he has, that could go a long way with this guy making the team. I mean, he's got the traits,
Yeah. So some of the cons that I have on Justin Watson. So like I said earlier, you didn't really get to see any challenging cornerbacks against him in college or anything like that. In the NFL, it looked like he had a slow start trying to adjust to that. So that's one of the things. Also, he is coming off of a knee surgery in 2021. He missed most of the year. Also, just on his game, he could work on his route tree. It's not like very, extensive. And also he has very limited yak ability. So once dude catches the ball, it's not like he's gonna, make people miss, break away, make these huge plays. He's just a solid big target, which could be something that we could use on this team. So he could make the team and be that guy that Mahomes looks for when he needs. Kind of like, how Demarcus Robinson would just randomly show up and catch a first down pass or something like that, but he didn't really do much else. Maybe that's the role that Watson comes in here and takes.
It would be nice for Watson to come in and just be an amazing safety blanket for Mahomes. Mahomes last year, he got himself in a lot of trouble. He would get so antsy in the pocket sometimes when he didn't need to be sometimes. And that caused a lot of his problems. But it would be great if he had somebody else. So that way, it's usually Kels. But I mean,
Right.
let's be honest. Kelsey is going to be double and triple teamed at times. So if you've got a guy like Justin Watson that's big and fast and can get open, that's another great thing for Mahomes to have. Going to his cons, though, I kind of had what you had. I said that he's not very elusive on his route running. He don't really, he's not elusive to full players on his route running, and he's not elusive after the catch, which you did say. And then it looks like on film sometimes he plays slower than his speed. He runs a 4.4, but he does not look it sometimes on the field, which is kind of strange that Mahomes would call that out and say, how fast is this guy? Because on film, it's like, well, he didn't look very fast.
Right.
But
I saw that too. I saw it as well. It's not like he has like a really slow burst or anything, but something about it, it's just like it's not translating. Like his athleticism and his speed, like, and that's the thing about it. Like everything that all this hype that's coming on Justin Watson right now, it's all without the pads. It's just running routes, throwing pitch and catch with Mahomes. Like, what is it going to be like when he throws some pads on? Because obviously he didn't like, wow everybody over there in Tampa Bay, or they wouldn't have let him go. So, I mean, maybe we'll see a different Justin Watson when them pads come on.
right. So do you think he makes the team? I think it's between him, Justin Ross, and maybe Doris Fountain for that sixth slot, maybe. So who would you give the slight edge to right now?
Right now, I'm going to stick with Justin Ross just because I think that he has the ability to make the contested catches, the acrobatic catches, like we talked about in the video that we can put right up here. You guys can go watch us talk about Justin Ross. His burst is a little slow, and that could hurt him making this team. But I feel like he offers a lot. Sure hands, he's going to make good catches and things like that. And he's young, and he's going to have time to grow. So I think he might make the team. I'm going to give him the nod right now over the other guys. And I also think that Doris Fountain actually has a little bit of an edge on Watson as well, just because of his special team abilities and the fact that Dave Tobe's going to be pushing for him. So
I think if I had to list those, I would put Ross as my number 2. I would put Fountain as number 3, and I think I'd give the nod to Justin Watson at the moment, but just slightly. I would say just slightly. I think it's neck and neck between him and Justin Ross. Fountain, I don't know. I just don't see a lot
hey,
out of Fountain besides special teams.
don't be so sure that Jerry and Ely don't get in this mix. I'm telling you, it could happen.
Yeah. So you said that before in our Jerry and Ely profile. So you think maybe he could slide in there. And it's possible they could use him like a James White. We discussed that. You may put
Well,
him in the slot a little bit.
there's a reason why they slated him as a wide receiver slash running back. They didn't bring him into camp as a running back. So I mean, there's a
Right.
reason they did that.
Okay, man. Justin Watson. Who is your player comp for Justin Watson? We're just going to act like we don't know who Justin Watson is. If you've never seen him, who do you think he reminds you of? Let's give everybody a good player comp here.
The best comp I could come up with for Justin Watson was, if you guys remember back on the New England Patriots with Brady and them, you had Chris Hogan, who came in there. He made a little bit of a splash, made some big catches here and there, but he wasn't nothing special. He wasn't fancy. It wasn't any. He did not have much longevity there. He kind of was a flash in the pan. But if you watch his game and you watch how he plays, with his speed, his size, and things like that, very, very reminiscent of Chris Hogan.
Okay. I'm gonna throw out a guy that you may remember. He's kind of current. He's not super current, but do you remember the New York Jets wide receiver Eric Decker?
Yes, I do.
That's who he kind of reminds me
He played
of.
for the Donkeys too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eric Decker was 6'3". He was right around
I
215,
could, hey,
220.
that's a great comp, actually. I think that's a
That's
really
who
good
I
comp.
seen,
Yeah.
honestly. Solid hands, solid route running. It's just Eric Decker had some good years. Like he really did. He had some good years. His longevity wasn't there, but
Right.
I
But
mean,
he was a pain in the butt. I remember that.
he was. And the best thing about Eric Decker, he has a super hot wife. Sorry.
I remember that too. I remember
what was
that
her name?
too.
Her
I
name was
don't
like
know.
what? Jesse James or something weird.
I don't
like
know.
that.
I just remember it was like a big thing.
Jesse
Everybody
Decker.
talked about it.
I don't know.
Guys, thanks for liking the video. Thanks for subscribing and hitting that bell to get notifications. Make sure you get down here in the comments. Let us know what you like about Justin Watson, why all the hype surrounding him right now, and if you think he's going to make this team or not, and why. We'll talk to you guys about it. Thanks for listening, and we will be back with more.
This is me pointing to you and saying, hey, I see you haven't subscribed yet. We're trying to get to 600 subscribers now. Let's go get it.
Get that.
See you guys.